Welcome, everybody, to Sit Downs with City Lifestyle Vegas Edition. I'm Camila Duran, publisher of Red Rock and South Vegas City Lifestyle magazines. And I have here today none other than Andrea Duran. She is a kick-ass boss lady insurance agent here in town. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So awesome that you're here with us. And please tell us about your journey. What inspired you to become an insurance agent?
Well, what inspired me originally was during the pandemic. I was living in a different state, and I'm from Las Vegas, and I just realized that when, of course, what happens, something catastrophic happens, what do people need? They still need insurance. And honestly, life insurance and all the insurances were so, even if you weren't driving, we still had to have auto insurance. Mm-hmm. So in my prior career world, I was in nightlife, and I just kind of pivoted, and I looked at real estate, I looked at insurance, I looked at a bunch of different things, and of course all of that is here to stay, but insurance spoke to me.
Awesome. What about insurance inspired you?
The fact that I'm helping people protect their assets. Mm-hmm. I'm also helping you protect if something happens in an auto insurance accident, you don't have all the liability. There's just lots of different reasons. I mean, it's not a need. I mean, it's not a want, it's a need. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to spend your life savings to fix your car, or you don't have to spend your life savings to fix your house. So we have, variables that help people. And with life insurance, of course, there's the savings benefit, there's children's policies, there's so many things and benefits if something happens. Of course, we never wanted to think about that, but it happens, and you're helping your family pay for your death benefits and anything else just to live for a couple years.
So it gives everybody peace of mind. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And what has been the most surprising thing that you've learned throughout this journey as an insurance agent?
That people hate insurance agents. I'm not the biggest fan. Like in nightlife, people want to know you because they want to get into the clubs and they want to get a table, or they just want to get general admission. Where insurance, they're like, oh, wonderful, so nice to meet you, another insurance agent. No, but I do put a personal touch, and I have a great staff, and we are on it. And of course, they don't hate, but it's not the best, funnest topic, and of course, intriguing topic to talk about.
It's like lawyers, right? It's not that we hate lawyers. We don't really appreciate them because they have this, there is a stigma mm-hmm. around being a lawyer, but you always need one when you're in trouble or, for whatever other reason. I think insurance agents are the same thing.
Correct.
Or no?
Similar in concept, except attorneys have to go to a lot more school and put a lot more time and money involved, but they also kill it, so mm-hmm. it's risk and reward.
So having this dislike, right, that you said, how do you keep yourself passionate in this industry?
By meeting people like you.
Aw, that is so sweet.
You're welcome. And also, keeping active in the community. I'm in the Vegas Chamber of Commerce. Right now, I'm in a BNI, business networking group. So I meet with a group every week, and we go over just different common denominators that we have in different businesses and referrals. And then I also go to events. I get invited to a lot of different mixers, of course, the happy hours that we do as well in these industries. Mm-hmm. But, a lot of different ways. And I help, I like talking to my clients, and I hear a bunch of different stories, and it's nice it's not hard. It's always something new. There's always a new project. Somebody maybe has a house that they can't get insured. I can find, because we, with American Family is one company, and that's our main, but we also broker with others. So I learn new things every single day.
That's amazing. What's the most, what has caught your attention that you've learned lately that you didn't know about insurance?
Well,
that you can share with our followers.
I would say the most things that most people don't realize, umbrella policies. Mm-hmm. So I even learned a lot because I've never had one prior.
What's an umbrella policy?
So an umbrella policy is an additional liability coverage on top of what you already have with your auto and your home or your renter's policy. So if you're a business and you have a commercial policy, say somebody falls at your business and you only had $1 million, $2 million, well, you can get an additional $2 million in coverage, and it's a lot less than what people would think sounds like a big number, but it's actually just an additional protection for your liability, so you're not draining your life savings on something that happens that's not even, an oversight or something, mistake, accidents happen. So for homes, your maid comes, there's a dog that bites somebody, people get sued. And if you only have $500,000 on your house, and someone lost their leg, you could, be liable for that. So an umbrella actually adds that extra $1 million or $2 million to your policy.
So how does that work? Do I get an insurance and then after the fact I go get an umbrella, or do I get it before?
They're hand in hand. You have to have an auto policy, and the auto policy has to have a $250,000, $500 limit, and then you can add an umbrella.
Oh, you can add an umbrella. Good to know. Are you listening, people? You got to contact Andrea to get your umbrella policy. That's what I'm saying. And can you explain the difference between being insured and being truly protected? Is there like something there?
Oh, yes. So people always say, "Oh, I want I'm full coverage." What is full coverage to you? So if you own a business and you own a nice car and you own, it's all different variables. If you rent a condo and you're 21 years old and you're going to college, full coverage to you is a different story than a 45-year-old working, family with children. So 2550 is the state limits. That means 25,000 per accident, 50,000 aggregate. But that means if 2550, and then if something else happens above that, they can sue you personally. So it depends on the assets you have. I mean, I suggest 100, 300 to most clients. It just gives you a little bit more liability on your auto, plus your home, the home deductibles. And there's just so many different things. So if you own a home versus if you rent, so there's different reasons why you would have higher coverages. But yes, it's different for every single person. Single versus married, widowed, it just depends on that.
Wow, that's mind-boggling to have all these variables just come in, to put your numbers together, your insurance, or how much they can pay you. And okay, let's get into like a kind of a controversial subject right now. Okay. And Las Vegas, in my opinion, is known as the worst city for driving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky me, also. And probably the last 5 years, it's been worse.
Yeah, and, unfortunately, when we're able to have our windows down because the weather's so nice, we're driving down the street and there's like this smell of marijuana, just like in the streets from other cars driving, and people drive drunk or they're texting, whatever reason, or they're like in a hurry, or they have complete disregard, or they just don't know the rules of driving in the road. What is insurance fraud, like the rate of insurance fraud here in Nevada and Vegas compared to other states? Do you know that statistics? I
mean, I've done articles even in my business networking group because we do meet and sometimes I have to do a presentation. So I've looked up some numbers recently. As far as auto rates, we are top 3 in the nation. So
insurance fraud?
No, just actually rates. So say
insurance
you want to
rates.
get a car, you have your car here and you want to get insurance. We're top 3 as far as the rates are concerned. So premium.
Wow. What's number 1? Do you remember?
I did not look.
No, that's
but
okay.
I can find out. But as far as, so everyone complains to me about that. So as far as fraud, that would be more of an adjuster or claims question. But we do have our internal fraud department. And I recently had an experience with not a client that I knew. Someone called in and tried to basically work the system with a renter's policy. And they will investigate you and you will, even if you get a payout, you're not going to be able to get insurance anywhere else. So the point is you have to think about the reasons why people do the things they do, and it's for money, of course. And fraud is more than it's more of the attorneys that are going after, because they're going for the full liability limits. Most people they can't negotiate with insurance, so that's why all these insurance attorneys, aka ambulance chasers, are all around town. And listen, I'm friends with some of them, and I understand. But it is a big racket here. That's why our premiums are so high.
Wow, yeah, and I've heard so many stories about people just like cutting them off or just, parking so they could get bumped. Yeah. And you park like, I don't know how many feet ahead of the other car or behind the other car so you can give that distance so you don't get into an
Well,
accident.
forget even just the parking. If they slam their brakes in front of you and then you hit them, and I've seen actual videos of people. So there's one of my personal injury attorneys in my group. He states everybody should have a camera, in their car.
Yeah.
Like everybody, not
I've
just
heard
your
that.
backup. Like when you're driving, you should have a camera installed, filming the front, the back. So in case somebody does that, you have footage.
Do you have a camera in your car?
I just got a new car. He's going to get mad at me because he's like, everybody should. And I will. I just told him, I was like, I have to figure out how to get it installed. So he's like, well, I'll help you. So, I mean, I haven't, but I do know some brands and I've looked at them.
So you will get a camera?
Yes, I will.
And that helps.
Yes.
So what tips would you give someone who doesn't have a camera if they get into an accident?
Pictures, try to file the police report. I know they don't always show up, but it is, the police report to have your documentation. Also, I would definitely contact your insurance company right away, regardless if you're at fault or not, and explain. It's honestly sometimes their word against yours. It's also the damage that's on their vehicle versus your vehicle. But there are sometimes, if you back up into someone in a parking lot, typically you're just going to be at a fault, regardless if they showed up. It's
right.
It's the name of the game.
And what would you say when people want to settle outside of the insurance? Is that smart? Is that not smart? Like they both get into an accident and they want to settle without,
Without an attorney?
No. Yeah, or activating their insurance.
So if you're asking if two clients call their insurance company and they say, forget it, we're just going to negotiate with each other. That's their decision. The reason people do that is because they don't want to have a rate increase and somebody's going to be at fault. Even if there's an uninsured claim and someone didn't have insurance, there's still a claim. And so at fault is at fault and it lasts on your record for 3 years. So that's up to you. If you're not injured, maybe it might be better off. Yeah.
Okay, so that is a possibility. We don't always have to activate our insurance to be able to settle. It all depends on the type of damage that was caused to the car.
And if somebody's barely fender bends you and you think, oh, I just can get this fixed, and you guys agree to a settlement, that's your choice, of course.
Mm-hmm. And so leaving the auto insurance a little bit, going to what other insurances? You said you help with life insurance, financial planning.
So I can do annuities. We don't have our own annuities through AmFam, but we have brokerage. I typically focus on the things that I'm in general, there's so many experts in all the fields. So I'd rather focus on the things that I know and work with on the daily. So I'm licensed in property and casualty, which is home and auto and renters and umbrellas. And then I'm also in commercial auto. There's so many business, of course. And then there's also life and health, which I'm licensed in. So the health side, we don't sell. So if someone comes to me and asks, hey, do you have ill health? I have brokers I can work with and Medicare brokers. I partner with people just because why not? It's better to give somebody an expert than me try to take everything.
For sure.
I don't know every single thing, and I learn, like I said, every single day. So the life side is a big push. And listen, for me, life is very important. There's a why story for everyone, and I do think things happen in life, and you're not always going to be prepared for whatever it is. There's reasons why we have things we have. So life is my focus. I would say homeowners, auto, and then business insurance, commercial insurance, workers' compensation, the renters policies. We do, if you think about it, you have a business, you have a commercial truck, commercial auto is another aspect. So there's little things you don't even think about besides the umbrellas and those, there's so many aspects. You can actually insure your business personal property. There's inland marine insurance. We do a lot of that, and that's little details on top of all the policies that we have.
So is life insurance for everybody?
Even in my opinion, yes, even for children, because it gives them a savings account and it guarantees insurability. So if I say I get your child, 6-year-old, a policy, when they're 13, they get leukemia of sorts. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
So they already have the policy, they're guaranteed. And there's a little bit of a savings account that ties to it, and they can convert it to a whole life when they become a certain age.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a part of life insurance that people aren't aware of.
Yes.
Right? So what advice would you give women for life insurance? Like, let's say they don't have kids, right? Because in my mind, like I'm a very ignorant person, and this is interviewing people and having the magazine and going after businesses to help promote them. It's like my favorite part of the job because I get to learn a lot. So if a woman doesn't have children, why would she get a life insurance?
So do you own a home?
Yes.
Or rent a condo or own a
Yeah.
condo. So so mortgage protection is number one because you probably still have a mortgage on it.
Okay.
So if something happens to you, who's going to, I know you're not here, but it would be paid off. So that's number one. Number two, you say that now, maybe somebody that you marry or get remarried or date has children. If you have life insurance, you could leave, or your nephews and nieces. Also, I have a policy on myself, which I'm not married and I don't have children, but it gets a savings account. So it's not just the death benefit. I'm building an equity, and there's tax reasons behind. So people, if you put any money, say I get sued, no one can touch my life insurance policies. So if I have money in my life insurance policies, that's not, there's maximum that you can put into them. There's max because, there was other people that tried to do that. But there's a lot of tax purposes for having a life insurance policy. Also, if you, like I said, have nieces and nephews, you can build some equity in your accounts where, say, when you're 75 and you might need to borrow $50,000 from yourself, you can. And there's, it's your own life insurance policy. So there's a bunch of different ones and reasons. We have a juvenile policy. Ours is one of the top in the country. And you can rate it, and you can start it at zero once the child is born.
Really?
And it's a lot less premium. So think about what's $15 a month for,
Nothing. Yeah, for sure. So what, is there an age where women should start looking for life insurance? Like, is there a too late kind of situation, or like,
and I see it all the time.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So you, at one point, you're not going to be. So say you have cancer, say you get diabetes, there's a lot, you get rated differently. Your premiums go up. The younger you are, the better you are. So when I bought a condo when I was 20 years old, my dad was like, you should get a life insurance policy just in case. And I didn't think about it at the time. I'm like, I'm 20 years old. Why do I need a life insurance? And I wasn't married, but it was to protect the mortgage. So I got a policy just for the amount of how much my condo cost. It was $50 a month, and I actually had a savings account tied to it. So I kept it, and I ended up cashing it out and transferring it to a stock account thing. But it was great. I mean, it was just like putting money under a mattress for me. I mean, you didn't have it. Think about it, like you didn't.
Yeah.
So at least I had that money to cash out when I wanted to. But there's also the age. At 60 years old, you can only get, at 50 years old, you can no longer, with us, you can no longer get a 30-year term policy. At 60 years old, I think it's only 20, there's age ranges.
Okay.
And then at a certain point, you're not even going to be insurable as far
You're
as.
not qualified anymore.
Correct. You're either your health or the rate's so high, why would you pay for a life insurance policy? If I'm 70 years old and it's $1,000 a month.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, so it has to make, and there's also terms. You don't have to. It's also your quality of life. If you have a lot of assets at 65 when you retire, do you need as much money as you did when you were in your 30s? No. So there's reasons why. There's formulas, I would say, and I have some terms. I have some perms on myself, but I also have my nephews and nieces as my beneficiaries as it stands, and I have 24. So
24 nephews. Oh my
Yes.
goodness, it's a big family.
Yes.
No wonder you're always traveling to go to graduations and all.
yes.
Wow, very cool. And so can you share a story where someone was negatively or positively impacted by their insurance decisions?
Yeah, I would say there's the positives. Like, let me think of a positive story. Positive would be somebody that there was a client of mine that owned a townhome, and she was out of town, and there was a flood, and she came home and she called me, and she was like, my house is the worst water that I didn't know. And, obviously the pipe busted or whatever, the insurance adjuster goes and looks, and there's all the claim and all that. But she had to pay her $1,000 deductible, and she got her whole house fixed. So, I mean, how could you, of course, things are ruined and you never can replace memories, but we were able to do that for her without her having to, again, worry about never having how is she going to pay for her place? How is she going to fix her home? So those are things that happen for every insurance agent on the, every company on the daily. The negatives, I would say, would be those fires that happened. And, it's not directly at me. And we don't have as many natural disasters in Las Vegas. So I wouldn't say that for us in Nevada, except our premiums for auto, but a negative would be someone that can't get auto insurance or can't afford here in Nevada. The negative for outside of Nevada would be, say, those fires that happened in Malibu and Palisades. A lot of companies had stopped insuring. People lost their homes, and there's, that gives a negative connotation to the insurance world as a whole. And it makes me sad to think, this is the reason why these companies started, but it's also things that happen that are out of our control. So
yeah. And it's funny you mentioned people who don't have insurance. So I recently changed cars, and I kept getting these emails from the DMV because I traded in my old car, and they asked, "Is this car still yours? Why is it not insured?" And then this new car, "Why is this car not insured?" And my new car was insured. I didn't leave the dealership without the insurance. But they threatened to not let me register. I would lose my registration without the insurance. So how are people driving without insurance if the DMV is kind of strict on that?
They're probably driving without a registered car. They're driving someone else's car. That's so someone can buy a car cash. The DMV is not going to track. Typically, the title. When you go to register, people will say, "Oh, it was parked in a garage or it was getting fixed." I mean, there's lots of ways, but the DMV is on it. They will fine you immediately if you don't have insurance on your car. And honestly, even if you don't have insurance on yourself, if you're driving someone's car, you can get liability only. I mean, in my opinion, it's the best way because then you don't have a lapse, because then you become considered high risk or a higher risk because you didn't have insurance if you have a driver's license. So, I mean, we're not in New York City where we're walking around and taking Ubers everywhere.
Right.
Typically, we have to drive. So,
yeah.
I mean, in my experience, the best is to keep even a liability policy, even if you don't have a car.
Really?
And they're not, those are a lot, because it's not tied to anything, but at least you have insurance on yourself. If you drive a Turo, if you drive somebody else, there's a million different,
Oh, so you can have a liability insurance even if you're not the driver. Oh, how interesting.
If you don't have a car tied to it.
Wow,
yes.
I'm learning all sorts of new things today. That's amazing, Andrea.
Thank you.
Yeah, and and it's very common, I see, please correct me if I'm wrong, but people switch insurance agents when they find out that they can get cheaper insurance policies with someone else, or they hear about it, or they get these quotes. How do you build loyalty and trust with your clients? How do you keep them with you?
Interesting question, because it is a thing, and obviously it's retention and people leaving. And I took over some clients from another agent who had left the industry, and it was very American Family they actually offer to a lot of the newer agents, they'll give some clients instead of buying, because most like State Farm Farmers, you have to buy the book. So that's kind of the reason I went with them. Is I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting like a gift of clients. Obviously, not everyone's going to stay with you. The former agent of my office was from Bulgaria, so I have a lot of Eastern Europeans, and I kept her employee, and she speaks, Russian, Ukrainian, Bulgarian. So it was a little bit, tough at first. I was getting emails sometimes in Russian, or and they can. I'm like,
you don't know Russian, Andrea?
I mean, I don't even know Spanish.
How do you
barely.
not know Russian? I'm just kidding.
I need to know my own native tongue. But yes. So it was a little bit interesting. So with getting those clients, retention, they don't know me. They knew Vili. They knew the past agent. They know the person I kept Maya. So it was interesting enough. But now with the clients that I have built, of course, some of them are very direct and honest. I am a very open communicator. I understand price is a big concern. I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, I would love to have everyone stay with me forever, but I get it. And I would never be mad at anyone for communicating that. And I try to, and even if they tell, someone sends me an email where I found with this company, so much less. Sometimes I'll even ask, I'm just curious which company, beat our rates, because there's a lot of different protocols. It's also based on where you live, your zip code. It's not just your car. It's factors and your driving record, your driving history. And, the credit's not like getting pulled technically, but it's a soft pull. All insurance companies pull from the same database. And if you have accidents, if you have tickets, so if you're married, if you're not married, if you have children, if there's children drivers, we have some of the better policies for that. That's, I think, the family aspect, marriage, children, and kid drivers, if they have student drivers, if they have a good student, 3.0. So there's factors, but what I try, I offer service, I respond, I give most of my clients, they have my cell, if I met them, I give them direct access to me. And my service, CSR, customer service rep, is on it. She is very, very, people really like her. And so, there's value in like having an agent, because not every company you have an agent either. You can just go online and have insurance. But I have clients that even have texted me at 10 o'clock at night sometimes. Wow. Hey, I got an accident. Who do I call? Or I need to get my car towed. And if I'm up, I respond.
Do you find that as a woman in business, a woman business owner, you have more women as clients or men? Because I know that I run into people all day long, and even when I started publishing South Vegas, some of the advertisers were like, oh my God, thank God you're a woman. It's so much easier to deal with you, like you understand me and blah, blah, blah. So do you see that in the insurance world?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a negative, and I do find some women that are very, very kind and sweet. But I think as a whole in society, especially if you're married, the males still are the ones that are shopping, because they're usually a lot of times for some reason decision makers. And yes, women will reach out, but I would say I probably have more males that I speak to on the daily than the female clientele, but I definitely do.
So would insurance be considered still a male-dominant industry?
Yes. And a male-dominant, just because when it started, and it's, listen, I'm not into any stereotypes. I think there's something for everyone in every industry. But when it started, it was that, you wore the little pocket protector and you were this, white button-up shirt. And if you think about the old school, even when you look at insurance agents back in the day when it started, a lot of them started in the Midwest. A lot of the companies are started in Madison, Wisconsin. So, but they're definitely opening it up to everyone now. And I think it's just diversification of, the society as well.
Yeah, and women in the workplace and just being pioneers in whatever industries they're wanting to go into.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's something people would be surprised to learn about you outside of work?
I have 10 brothers and sisters.
10?
Yes.
No wonder you have 24 nephews and nieces.
Yes, there's still more coming soon, I'm sure. I have...
what order are you?
I'm the oldest.
Wow.
And I was born and raised in Las Vegas, but I've lived in L.A., Miami, Fort Lauderdale also.
What a fun life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How is it like to be the oldest of 10 or 11?
It was a little different. My mom was always pregnant. Everyone was like, your parents were busy. I never really thought about it until I became an adult. I'm like, yeah, they kind of were, right? Like she was natural birth. She never had a C-section. But I do feel that it's very different, especially now, because that's big families like that they're not as common.
Right.
And my mom was born in Las Vegas also, so that's kind of a fun fact. She was, second generation, and all my brothers and sisters were born here, so.
Wow, that is something I didn't even know.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool. So if you were to give your younger self a piece of advice on life, money, insurance, what would it be?
Pick something and stick with it, career-wise. You got to follow what your path is, any most successful, if that success is important to you. So for me, any person that I know that's pretty much they followed a path and they stuck with it, you're always going to be successful. But if you poke in and out, so any even younger female or male that I meet now, if you find something that you enjoy, pick it and stick with it, because that's, the most successful people, that's what they do. Also, routine is a little bit more. I've lived very fun, and I've lived in other places, of course, but routines are meant for a reason. And I think some people, you just need to have some sort of routine or goals and set in place. So life insurance, I would always suggest to someone younger self. I did have it, but I would suggest also having some sort of financial advisor, even if it's somebody you just rocket money or something that you invest in, where you at least have a savings that you're putting something into for your life.
Yeah, it's like your little umbrella to protect you from a rainy day.
Yes, a nest egg. Always have a little nest egg. And if you don't know what's going to happen in your, with your marriage or if you have children, but always, you have to always have your own protection for yourself before, so you at least have something going on regardless of who you meet and how you end up or who you end up with.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of goals, and we are now in the middle of the year, what are your goals for the rest of the year?
Well, I have recently put together kind of a half-year goal. I'm actually doing it with the person that I'm dating. So he's a real estate broker, and I feel he's very, very goal-oriented, and he puts things on paper, which I've been more mental instead of writing it down. And I do agree that you should, because it gives you something to look at, or even on your computer. So we're meeting to actually go over and do that again for the rest of the year. My goal is to obviously be stronger than I was last year, of course, numbers-wise. I went over with my sales advisor, the district, because I have my own office, but we're still part of an company umbrella. And I beat all my goals last year, business-wise.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing.
And I'm on track to surpass again. So that's, for this year is my financial goals. And then obviously personally, just to always learn something every single day and positive environment. For me, it's very important for me to surround myself with people that are positive and also work on myself. It's work in progress.
Wonderful. And how can people reach you, Andrea, if they're looking for a new insurance agent or if they really liked your vibe, what you have to say? How can they find you to take over their insurance policies?
Well, I am on Instagram, of course, Andrea Duran Agency. So at Andrea Duran Agency. I am on the amfam.com website. If you look up either the Southwest, it's 89147, 89148, one of the zip codes I would show up. I'm also on Google, so Andrea Duran, Las Vegas, or insurance agent. I have a Google page, I have a Yelp page, and it's American Family Andrea Duran Agency.
Very good. So you're very easy to find.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much for participating today. And it was an honor and a pleasure having you here, enlightening us with all things insurance. Is there something that I forgot to ask that you're like, oh my God, people should know this?
No, overall, I think that people know that insurance is obviously here to stay, and they know that if they ever need a trusted advisor, of course, I would love to be yours, but I also will take questions. I guess if anyone ever has a question and they just don't want to ask their current company, feel free to email or text or email or call my office as well.
Oh, and before we end, I just thought of something. So you know how real estate agents, they say, make sure that you know who is your real estate agent if they have experience, because that really counts when you're making deals, so they know what they're doing. Is there such a thing with insurance agents? Should you kind of interview insurance agents and see, how many years they have of experience in the market and whatnot?
I think it's more of you click with the person and you like the company, if the company is trusted. Because our company's in the Fortune 200. It's 202 right now. Mm-hmm. We're very well, we pay on our claims. There's a lot of smaller pop-ups that come up all the time. Also, some people don't care that they have an agent. I personally like it because even when I've had outside, before I even did insurance, I knew people in the industry. And I like supporting people that I want to, be successful. But it's an agreement through the company. Mm-hmm. So if I write your policy versus another company, as long as you get the claim paid, but it's also the relationship. And so, like I said, you go on Geico's app, you can just kind of put your name and it gives you your, so it just depends on the person. But there is something to be said about having an agent. And I will say, yes, of course, you want someone that knows you don't want to just call and they're like, oh, don't know what you're talking about. But the company puts those things in place. I have a software. We're very, very proprietary information. It's very secure. I don't even see, once I put your information, I can't see like your social, there's not, so there's things behind it. And that's why I like working with this company, because it's very, very, they're known to pay on their claims. There's no Mickey Mouse little things going on. It's very structured. They're Midwest. They do what they say they're going to do.
And again, I just remembered I've been watching commercials on TV about an app called Insurify or something like that. Are you familiar, where they promise you that you're going to pay half of your insurance?
They all promise they're going to pay half of their insurance. Every company. Listen, those are, most of the time, those are search engines. So you basically put your information and it goes out to a bunch of different people who usually buy the leads. So I don't typically buy leads. Some people, that's how they sell. They just cold call people all the time. Everybody has a different way. I prefer the relationship building and going out and meeting people in person or referrals.
And you're really good at that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and like lenders would be like my referral partners, realtors, of course, but lenders cannot close a loan on a home or a condo or townhouse without having an insurance policy in place.
Oh,
So there's different partners that are more so than others, but that's the whole benefit of having, power partners or people that you refer to as well.
Wonderful. Again, a very enlightening conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today, Andrea.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching. If you like this episode, please share, like, and subscribe. And let us know what you'd like to hear from us next. Till next time. Thank you.